Hello, it's me again. Happy New Year to you all. Now, I thought that I might tell you a little story about what happened to me when I was a little girl. Now, when I was a little girl, I used to live in a country called Nigeria, and we lived on what was called then a mission compound, which was like a very big garden with lots of houses in it. And at the time this story takes place, there was just our family living on the compound. And I used to like to go with my daddy to lock up at night and make sure that everything was okay, ready for the night, and everything was safe. So just before darkness came, my daddy would light lamps in the house, and they were called tilly lamps because we didn't have any electricity. We had running water, but no electricity. So my daddy and I set out down the path, and as we went, the deep African night, dropped her black velvet skirts over the countryside. And as that happened, the night sounds started. It was very, very quiet. We heard the hoot of an owl. We heard the slither of a snake as it rustled through the grass. We heard the rustle of a mouse and the squeak of a mouse. We heard a rat grunting. We also heard the night jars playing their little violins. And we saw the glowworms coming out. It was magical. And way above us in the sky, the moon shone brightly and the stars all came out. And I was happy. I was happy because I was with my daddy. And when I was with my daddy, I felt very, very safe. As we walked, our shadows looked very, very long in front of us because we were surrounded by a pool of light from the lantern that my daddy held in his left hand. Now, my daddy was left-handed. Okay. So, anyway, we went round, we locked up all the buildings, we made sure all the windows were shut and everything was secure so nobody could get in. And then we got to the corner of the school. And my daddy said to me, look, sweetheart, it's time you went home. Went home to mummy, it's past your bedtime. And I went, oh, daddy, please, I don't want to go home. I want to stay with you, daddy. Can't I stay with you while you go and lock up the rest of the buildings? And he went, no, you can't. I've got to go over to the other side of the compound. I've got to cross the road. I've got to make sure that all the buildings are safe. I've also got to call in and see the boys and make sure that they're not getting up to mischief in their dorm and to make sure that they are all tucked up in bed. But you need to go home to your mum and your brother and your sister. And I went, oh, daddy, please. I don't like the dark. What happens if a snake comes out and bites me? Look, sweetheart, you know that's not likely to happen, he said. You'll be perfectly safe. I'll stand here at the corner of the school and I will hold up my lantern high. And then you should be able to see a very, very long way ahead of you. And if you run very fast, it'll only be a very short distance before you're actually at home. And when you are on the veranda, you can wave to me. So I know that you're safe. And I will stay here until I see your wave. Is that okay? I said, yes, daddy, but I really don't want to go. I know you don't, sweetheart, but you're going to have to go, I'm afraid, because I've got work to do and I've got people to see. So I said, okay then. Well, daddy can't, and then I'll run. So he said, okay then, on your marks. So I got my marks, get set. I got set, go, he said. And I shot off up the road as fast as my little 6-year-old legs would carry me, past the bump in the road. On I went, on. And I was just worried. Would a snake come out and get me? Or would an owl fly down and be horrible to me? Oh, I was really, really frightened. But I ran, and 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 I ran. And I started to go, just like that. And then I ran, and I finally got to the bottom of the steps. And I ran up the steps as fast as I could, and I stood on the top of the steps, panting. And then I turned, and there was my daddy down at the end of the road, still holding the lantern high. And I waved to him, and then I went in to the house. I went to bed. Now, thinking about that, I seem to remember that our Queen, when she was a little girl of 13, she found a poem that she felt was absolutely suitable for her father to read in his Christmas Day speech. Now, at that time, the country was about to go to war with Germany, and people were very afraid of what was going to happen. And this is the speech, and I will read it to you. And King George VI spoke these words. He said, "And I said to the man who stood at the gate of the year, 'Give me a light, that I might tread safely into the unknown.' And he replied, 'Go out into the darkness and put your hand in the hand of God. That shall be better to thee than a light, and safer than a known way.'" Now, as we stand at the threshold of the new year, we don't know what lies ahead. This world is once again in turmoil. Won't you put your hand in the hand of Father God and trust him to guide you and be your light in the darkness of the year ahead? Won't you ask him to hold the lantern high, just as I asked my daddy to do all those years ago? Hold the lantern high, Father God. Hold the lantern high. I hope he does hold the lantern high for you, and I hope he holds the lantern high for me as well. Now, you can read some more of my adventures in this book, which was published last year, A Traveller's Tales, and you can get it on Amazon. All right, I hope you enjoyed that story. There are lots of others in this book, and hopefully I'll be able to tell you them very soon. All right, bye. Happy New Year.